Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by best-selling author, sports psychologist, and coach Pete Cohen. Pete, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, Seth. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Of course. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Well, when you ask me that question, the first thing that pops into my mind is, being born. That's how I got started. But I probably got started even before that, right? When my mum and dad decided to have a child, but I was the one that almost didn't come because my mother lost a child before and they were only going to have 2. So I'm a bit of a miracle. How did I get started in what I do? I always wanted to be an actor, but I really had problems learning lines. So the next best thing was really getting up on stage and speaking. So my background is in psychology and performance. So I've had the opportunity to speak in many countries all over the world on performance, behavior. And yeah, I'm very inspired by helping people.
Awesome. How did you become a sports psychologist?
Well, I've always loved sport, but I was never good enough to play at the level that I would like to have played. So I suppose the next best thing was actually being able to work with athletes. And that was really amazing because many times I've been to Olympic Games with athletes. I've been at world championships where obviously I haven't been on the track competing, but I've been on the side watching. And you know what? That's just as good, right? Absolutely.
So how did that transition into the coaching practice and podcast and book you have now?
That's a good question. I don't think I ever really planned anything. I never really kind of thought the whole thing through. I love podcasting. I love speaking. So podcasting obviously seemed to be something at the time. Someone gave it to me as an idea, and I started that 6 years ago. And it's just grown. When I'm the sort of person, when I start something, I keep going. I don't really know how to stop. And when you work with athletes, it seemed like a natural progression to kind of work with everyday people and see if you can teach them some of the principles that you teach athletes to everyday people. Because let's face it, life is a pretty competitive place, right?
Absolutely. You are completely right. What are some of the biggest challenges that folks are coming to you for that you're helping them with?
I think the biggest challenge is basically the relationships we have with ourselves. I think a lot of people are quite hard on themselves, put a lot of pressure on themselves. And also people not feeling that positive about the future. So, my spin is to try and give people a different perspective of why they are the way that they are, help them look at themselves and the future in a different way. Because, we know that people don't change when we tell them what to do. People change when their perspective changes. So I really love to try and give people a different perspective of something.
Absolutely. Now, who is an ideal client for you? What type of folks are you working with?
Always people that are either high achievers, people that are already into that habit of waking up every day and kind of having the intent to create more, to do more, or people that want to be, I've definitely try to take personal development to the masses and realize that was a waste of time because you can't help everybody, right? You have to work out who your person is that you want to work and target and focus on those people.
You are absolutely right. What inspired you to write the book?
Well, I've now written 20 books, and the 20th book's published all over the world in multiple languages, but the 20th book is about Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is this new social media app, and the book is called Clubhouse Culture. And it really is featuring 30 different people who are using that application for the greater good. So I've interviewed all these people and written up their stories. So that book comes out this year, and all the money is going to a mental health charity. So yeah, look, stories change the world, right? We're all in the story making business. And I just think that, our stories aren't over, right?
Not until you're not here anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you're getting a Clubhouse book out right away. Obviously, this seems to be the year that Clubhouse has really, really taken off. How are you using Clubhouse now? What are you doing with it to help people and grow your business?
Well, at the beginning, I was very reluctant because I just thought, it's another kind of TikTok. I just thought, I'm not interested in this at all. But it couldn't have been anything further from the truth. It was basically what I was looking for, because it's a way of engaging. I think audio is a very powerful medium, as you well know, that's why podcasting is so popular. But the thing about Clubhouse that I like is that it's real time, and you can talk, but you can listen. And I have listened. So what I've been doing is I do a room every single day at 5 o'clock in the morning in the United Kingdom, which is pretty early. We get a lot of people coming in from the States and Australia. But really, the room is called How to Create a Fantastic Future. And all we've been doing is listening to people about the future they want to create, and then trying to help them and connect them with people that could maybe help them manifest. So it's a great place to listen. And it was so needed in the world right now, something like that, where people can be heard and people can talk. And yeah, I think and Facebook now are going to launch, a similar equivalent to that. So
yes, it seems like every time something good comes along, of course, Facebook will copy it.
Well, we were in a room the other day, and what's his face came in. Zuckerberg came in the room. And of course, then all of the, what's his name's been in the room as well. Elon Musk, and, loads of people are coming in. Are you using it?
Not as much as you, but yes, I probably once a week.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do a room together.
I would love to. It's absolutely fascinating. The people who are there that you would otherwise probably never get that much access to.
MC Hammer, Snoop Dogg. I was in a room with MC Hammer. I mean, and believe it or not, I was really impressed by MC Hammer. I just like a kind, considerate person who, because you think people, right? Because of and I also become very friendly with Michael Jackson's bodyguard, Matt Fidesz, 10 years. Again, I never would have met him if it hadn't been for Clubhouse. So,
all right. Well, that is absolutely fascinating. What are some of the other books that you've read? That you've written?
Yeah. So I've written a book called Habit Busting, Fear Busting, Life DIY, Sort Your Life Out. Some people think that was called Sort Your Wife Out, but it wasn't.
That's
called
a different book.
That's a different. I haven't written that one yet. That will be an international bestseller.
Yes, it will.
I wrote a book about leadership called Inspirators. But I wasn't planning to write this book. I thought, writing books is I don't actually agree with a lot of the stuff I wrote, because the books are quite old now. But I'm looking forward to this Clubhouse book coming out.
That is fantastic. What do you like best about what you do? Your passion is obvious.
I think the thing I like most is when people tell me their ideas. Someone tells you an idea, and then immediately I'd start to picture what they're saying. And it's like, well, the whole joy of being a part of someone's idea. Like, one of my clients wanted to write a book, so I challenged her, and, not only did she done it, but I've written the foreword to the book, and it's like, what an honor. Whether I get recognized for it or not, I don't really care. It's just the fact of being a part of someone's, ideas.
Absolutely. You've overcome a lot of your own challenges in your career. What do you think are some of the biggest lessons you've learned?
That your past doesn't equal your future, and you're not your personality. You're not who you think you are. I think you are who you choose to be. And that might seem a bit crazy, but a book came out last year by Benjamin Hardy called Personality Isn't Permanent. And I just think when I read that, it really blew my mind, because he was talking about the research about personality testing, and that it's not really based on any real strong science. There's obviously something in it. But personally, I think that our personality is who we are choosing to become. And that's the thing that inspires me the most, about who do I choose to become every day with the choices that I make. And it's not always easy, right? Because there's temptation and distraction at every turn.
Absolutely. What inspired you to launch the pod? Tell us about the podcast, and what inspired you to start podcasting?
I just think there's nothing better than I love talking, right? So it's like not being a DJ, well, a DJ on a radio, because obviously you're talking in between the songs, right? But podcasting to me is a privilege. The fact that people listen to it all over the world, and I'm just sharing ideas and inspiration. Plus, I've interviewed some incredible people, and you're going to be one of my guests on the podcast. So, there's nothing better than just talking, but it's even better when you talk to someone and you can feed off someone else's story, right?
Absolutely. You've written so many books. I know you're a voracious content consumer. What are some of the most impactful books you've read throughout your career? What are some of your favorites?
Think and Grow Rich, without doubt, is my favorite. I mean, I've met Napoleon Hill's son. I spoke at an event in Vegas with 20,000 people with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. That book, that's a book that most people, if you've read it, right?
Many, many, many times.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny. That's one of those books that when people have read it, most people have read it more than once, because it's not a book you read once and just put it down. It's a book you read multiple times. So that definitely is the best. I suppose other books that changed my life was Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman, which I really enjoyed. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Zig Ziglar's, I love Zig Ziglar's book Over the Top. I thought that was the first personal development book I read, actually, because everything I learned at university was really just a waste of time. I didn't learn anything of any use. I just had a good time, played sport, and dated some nice women. It was only when I went into the real world I realized I know nothing about anything, and now I need to start learning, and I'm still learning. I think I don't know anything. I'm humble enough to go, what can I learn? How can I learn? Yeah. What about you? What's your top book?
Think and Grow Rich would be number one. Atlas Shrugged would be number two.
Yeah.
Everything by Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson.
Yeah, right.
Would be, I've got a list of my top 18 because I can't narrow it down to just 2 or 3. But
yeah.
Tell us, what's the name of the podcast and where can we go to listen to it?
It's just called MI365. I mean, look, it's everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcast, it's out there.
Absolutely. And then for our listeners who want to learn more about the work that you're doing and how they can work with you, where is the best place for us to send them?
The best place is to go to MI365. I have a 30-day challenge, which is absolutely free. Most people that start it don't finish it, but we don't care. We want people to get to the end, because the end of that program, people being able to show themselves that they're capable of starting and finishing something. So it's all about basically connecting to your future self. So yeah, that's just at mi365.me, mi365.me.
Awesome. Well, this has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Pete Cohen of mi365.me. Pete, thanks so much for joining us.
Seth, it's my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.